He's a wild horse that cannot be tamed. I don't know.
Hey guys, it's Drew with Profit Monsters, and today I'm here with my beautiful wife, Danny. We have been married for 10 years, and we have two beautiful children, Asher and Ezekiel. And you guys asked a lot of questions on my Instagram. I did a poll and asked you guys to ask my wife questions about my reselling business. And so today I'm going to ask her a couple of those. I haven't gone over the list with her yet. And so I'm going to ask her those, and we're going to get her raw, unfiltered answers without any cheating. We haven't talked about this at all. So it'll be interesting for you guys, but for me as well, to see how she feels about some of these. Just so you guys know, Danny is a full-time stay-at-home mom. She does help with the reselling business, like with taxes when it gets to that season. And if I'm gone, she does my shipping and things like that. She'll help me with my spreadsheet. But for the most part, I take care of most of the business, and she, takes care of the kids and the family and those types of things. So she doesn't do like a lot of garage sales and thrifting, but she goes with me a little bit. So hopefully that gives you a little bit into our scope into our lives here. So, all right. So the Recycled Life says, what annoys you about my reselling? Or reselling in general. Let's just put it that way. What annoys you about reselling?
Probably the lack of scheduling, because I'm a very scheduled person, and then I'm like, so babe, are you gonna go thrifting today? I don't know, see what happens. So that's probably the hardest for me, is just not having a schedule. And
yeah. So to give a little bit of context about that, the way that I operate my business is, if I need inventory, that's when I usually do big sourcing trips. If I'm out and I have to go to the UPS or the post office or something like that, then I will stop at a thrift store on the way home maybe. Or like yesterday, for example, I had to go pick up my phone. I left it in a friend's car. And so I decided to do some thrifting while I was out because it was a little bit out of the way. And I came home with some really good stuff. So I try to make those trips worth it when I'm already out for something. Amateur Thrifter wants to know, thank you guys for these questions, by the way. Do you and Drew bump heads a lot, or do you manage to work together?
I'd say we work together pretty well. I mean, you're pretty type A personality. I'm kind of go with the flow, so.
Yeah, I'd say that the only time that we maybe bump heads is in situations where
you buy someone's entire eBay store.
Yeah. Bulk buyouts. And I wouldn't even say that we bump heads from it. It's just more like I go do a bulk buyout, and then I come home and I have to put most of this stuff in our living room until I can sort it and organize it and move it into the shed or my office. But we're not really bumping heads because we've owned multiple businesses together. So she knows that that's my personality type is, and she, I wouldn't say puts up with it, but she knows that it's going to happen in this type of business because that's just the best way to get inventory for me, is to do these buyouts. All right. Do you even thrift, bro? Wants to know, how scared were you when Drew went full-time reselling?
I don't think I was scared at all. I mean, like he said, this was our third business that we went in together. So I know if you had to go deliver pizzas or Uber or whatever to make ends meet, then you would. So I wasn't nervous or anything.
She has a lot of trust in me, but that's also because I'm the type of person that I'm going to do whatever it takes to provide for my family. Yeah. So when it comes to those types of situations, I'm just not going to sit at home and make excuses or, live off of government checks or anything like that. I'm a hustler at heart. So, she knows that she can trust me with her life, that I'm going to take care of us. All right, next question. Crafty Ginger 716 wants to know, did you ever think that reselling would not cover our family's bills?
I don't think so. I mean, we started off pretty slow with it. I never felt like it was not gonna work. We've never had to do rice and beans or not gone out. We've always been pretty comfortable.
I mean, we also have a pretty low, we live a frugal lifestyle, if that's the right word for it. Our mortgage is very low because we had a really good opportunity when we purchased this house, and we don't owe much on it, so we have a low mortgage. We are very frugal with our spending. Neither of us have any big addictions or anything. She doesn't just spend excessive amount of money on makeup. I don't spend excessive amount of money on Air Jordans or, whatever. We don't really follow a lot of like hype trends or anything. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really take a lot for us to cover our bills. And I think that's one reason why reselling is great for us is just, we could, sell a couple things a day and still be okay if they were decent sales. Okay, so the next question comes from, I believe her name is Lily Tree Hugging Coupons on Instagram. It says, do you feel like sometimes business gets in the way of bonding?
Yeah, my love language is quality time, so it is hard to make sure, especially with the children, that we're making time for each other. So it has gotten in the way. We don't let it like destroy our day or anything, but just stay in communication.
Yeah, I think communication is a big thing, but I think it's also, for us, it comes down to like, we're not just husband and wife, we're also best friends. Like, she trusts me and I trust her completely. So she knows that if I'm having a big thrift trip day, to not expect me home for dinner if I'm like going to be gone. Like, she just takes care of dinner with the kids, or if I am going to be home for dinner by that time, I'll text her and let her know. So there's kind of a lot of just communication that goes into that. As far as like quality time, just us, because we have kids, it already makes it a little bit of a tougher dynamic because we don't do daycare or anything like that. Asher's in school, but Zeke is still at home. So to have like individual one-on-one time doesn't really happen that much right now, and we're just spending a lot of time like trying to build and scale the business as much as possible. I mean, I've really only been doing it for about 2.5 years. So here's Hezzy, our dog. So we are still in the kind of like, I would call it like the building stages of our business, even though it's well established, but I still think that we still have good time, like good quality time together. But as far as bonding, like we still bond over the reselling business. Like there are some times where after Asher's at school, I'll box up the packages and then she prints the shipping labels, and like we're spending time together doing that. So, I mean, it's not exactly like going on a date, but we're still spending time together. I'm not like locked in my office and then she's out here and we don't see each other. So,
well, and then for like your trips that you go away like and visit other people, I'm totally understanding of that, and I encourage that to build our business. So I'm not like, oh, he's gonna be gone all week, woe is me. Like, no, it's just part of the business and we chug along. So
all right, Creek Vintage on Instagram wants to know, do you think that I spend too much time on the business?
no, I don't. I think because it is a newer business, that time needs to go into it. And I think he has a hard time like shutting his business brain off at times. And it's hard with his phone, the business being on the phone, I feel like, because he's getting notifications constantly. So I would say that's the only thing, is just always having that available. But I mean, it's part of the business, so.
Yeah. I think that there is a different dynamic when it comes to a business like this because, sometimes I list in the morning, sometimes I list at night, sometimes I list stuff as soon as I get home from the thrift store. Sometimes I'm sitting on the couch while we're watching a movie together, but I'm still sending out offers, because I'm just trying to be productive. So, it just really depends. I don't think that I spend too much time on the business. I think that there are times where I could be more disciplined and maybe just put away my phone. All right, Zeke decided to join us for a little bit. Yeah, how do you guys manage raising kids, loving your wife, and the reselling business?
I mean, before we started the business, I feel like we were pretty clear. I mean, before we had kids, we were pretty clear on when they're this little, I'm kind of not solely responsible, but I would take the bulk of the child rearing, I would say.
Yeah.
So that he could support us and do what he wants to do. I feel like my heart was to be a wife and a mother and to support him in whatever he wants to do. So I feel like whatever you want to do is how we balance that. I mean, balancing anything is hard, but...
Yeah. Okay, next question. This one's just kind of silly. It's more just a yes or no question. Gulf Coast Gambler wants to know, is my wife or are you willing to help clean pre-owned shoes that I purchase?
Yeah, I just don't want to scoop like chunks of poop out of the bottom. But I mean, with the magic eraser, it's fine.
You're talking about like the actual bottoms of the
Yeah,
shoes, like
yeah, that goes.
if there was ever. I don't really even think I've had many shoes that have had that. It's been like one or two in the last like 2 years. It's only been a few, so but I don't think she's ever like scrubbed the shoe with the magic eraser, but she's put up with times where I've had like shoes laying out all over the living room that I've cleaned and they had to dry out or something. Your shoe came off. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a mom, so little grosses me out anymore. What the kids do, so throw up, poop, whatever.
Villarica Picker wants to know, my wife wants to know how you deal with extra clutter from inventory.
That's a good one. I would say I just kind of deal with it, and
I mean, do you think that what I have right now, like in our living room, is considered clutter? Because like I have stuff inside the living room right now from thrifting yesterday. I brought it all inside and I started to list it, and I've brought most of it into my office, and there's a few things still in the living room. And then right now, like I had the shipping station set up in the shed, and then when I was gone in Utah, Danny brought the computer into the house, and since that time we have used part of our kitchen countertop where I have my laptop, the Rollo printer, and we just do the shipping inside now. So I don't really consider that clutter. It's just kind of like our house is a little bit smaller, so I don't have enough space, I would say, in my office to set up a shipping station in my office with the size of it right now, unless I took out the current desk that I have and put in a smaller one and reorganized stuff. But I don't think that I have a lot of clutter. I think that I would almost just say it kind of comes with the territory of being a reseller, is like it is extremely hard, unless you are a one category seller, like selling only shoes, to have a extremely organized system where you buy stuff, you clean it, you inventory it, you list it, and then you organize it right away. And I don't know of any reseller that, at least online or YouTube, that shares that they have that system in place, so that there's not maybe one or two Goodwill bags here or a couple of items that need to be listed there. Or I mean, I don't really have death piles just laying around. I'm very disciplined, so you got to at least give me that. And if there's anything that's unlisted, for the most part, it's in my office. The only time there's really clutter is from like the bulk buys, I think.
Yeah, I try to just put everything into one area just so I can visually like tone it out a little bit. But if I let my OCD kind of get the best of me, then I would just go crazy all the time. So it's just not worth it for me. But yeah, there's no death piles piled high or anything like that. With the bulk buy, it was taking up pretty much our whole living room. We just have like one path to walk around. But I knew that was just something temporary. So
yeah, I mean, it was gone. Like the majority of it was gone out of the living room in like 3 days, which I guess could seem like a long time for somebody that maybe has more space than what we do. But for someone like me, I mean, our living room is not that big, and to bring in as much stuff as I did during that bulk buy, and it was raining at the time that I started to pick it up. So I just had to get it off of the trailer and bring it into the house. Now, we covered it with tarp so it wasn't wet when I brought it in, but it was just still a lot of stuff to bring in. And I didn't have the shed prepared to take in that much inventory at the time, because when the guy hit me up and said, hey, you want to come buy this, it was like an instant thing. It wasn't like I had 2 weeks to prepare for it. He hit me up and said, hey, you want to come buy all this, yes or no? And I jumped on the opportunity. So I think she is pretty good at putting up with that kind of stuff, as far as most wives, or things like that would not.
I don't think nagging you would solve anything. I think our main solution was buying the shed, which was, a big decision. It was $8,000. give or take.
Well, $9,000.
$9,000, but it was I feel like the best decision that we made so far for the business.
I agree.
So.
Yeah. And we don't have a garage either. So where we live, we have like a covered patio, but I have a car underneath there. So you guys have to take into consideration, I don't have a 2-car garage. My house doesn't have like an extra spare bedroom anywhere. You know, we have our bedroom, Asher's room, and then my office. And so then it's just a hallway, a living room, and a kitchen. We live in a smaller house, which we want to turn this into a rental property and then upgrade to a bigger house, which in the future will be a lot better for us. But right now we're living below our means per se, so that we can make the sacrifice so we can turn this into a rental property and make income off of it. J. Marie said, her name's Jen, I believe, says, do you ever wish Drew just worked a regular 9 to 5?
No, because I think he'd be really unhappy. You were working for one of our friends, like, kind of corporate job before we started reselling, and it was just, I don't think Drew really wants to work under someone, because that puts limits on him. So I feel like he's a wild horse that cannot be tamed. I don't know how to explain it.
I think I'm just more of a free spirit. I don't necessarily believe in needing stability in a 9 to 5 because I don't trust in like a company or a business to provide for my paycheck. I trust in God. I trust in God to meet our needs, but then I also trust in myself as a disciplined, businessman, that I work hard and I do whatever it takes to make the money that we need. So a 9 to 5, I can make more money in one day, reselling than I could make sometimes in 5 or 6 days at a 9 to 5, depending on what kind of job I had, so.
Well, and a lot of people need the security of, they're afraid. Fear brings it on, if they need to work these hours and get this paycheck, they're afraid to go full time or be a reseller or anything self-employed, but I feel like the risk is worth it. So for us,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I just do whatever it takes when it gets to those points where if there was a situation where it was like, which I really don't think has happened in a long time, but if it was like, oh, we're coming close to needing money for our mortgage, like I'll start posting stuff locally on Facebook Marketplace and just making quick money, or I'll go Uber for a couple of hours. I have an Uber account set up if I really needed to, which I haven't done that in probably 2 years. But if it ever came down to it, like that's my mentality is, I'll just go Uber for a couple hours and make some quick money, or I would go donate blood plasma if I had to before I would go get a 9 to 5.
The survey thingies.
Yeah, there's like a
shampoo surveys.
Yeah, there's like a survey company locally, and they hit me up every once in a while, and they'll pay me $40 to like $80 depending on what the survey is. You like take it home, you try a fruit smoothie, or you try a shampoo, and you have to like let them know your thoughts. I'm signed up for those things too, and there's money everywhere. So I just don't really trust or feel the need to need a 9 to 5. All right, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's AARAUJ030 says, how do you manage your taxes?
We've been dealing with the same accountant for all of our businesses, and he's pretty seasoned. He's been around. He knows all the nooks and crannies to look for. And the spreadsheet thing is cool because last year I had to scramble and just add everything up, which was really hard. But I just write out all the expenses, tally them up. I get all the, what are those called? 1099s in from eBay and Poshmark and all those. And I make everything super organized and make one folder, and then I give it to our accountant, and he says everything's there. So
what she does to double check too is she prints out our bank statements for the whole year, like January through December, and she'll go through each month in my business debit account, and she'll highlight everything in different colors and say, okay, this was an inventory purchase, this was an expense for the business, office supplies, this was for gas or whatever, and she separates those into all categories, and we'll still have to do that because I didn't start using the Hustle and Hook spreadsheet till I think February, March. And there was 1 month where I had an issue with the spreadsheet where I have to go back and still fix it. So there's still some things that have to go into there. But I think as a reseller, every reseller does their taxes differently. And so there's no one right way to do it. What we've done just works for us because we've owned multiple businesses. So we create our profit and loss statement sheets based off of those other businesses, and our accountant knows how to work with those. But if you don't have Hustle and Hook spreadsheet and you know nothing about taxes, that's the best way to do it. You can literally enter everything in from the date you purchased it to the date that you listed it, the date it sold, to every expense, shipping cost, every return, everything like that. So yeah, it's a great spreadsheet. Then asked, do we have insurance for health and dental?
We have what's called a Christian health share insurance. So we, instead of paying like a company once a month, I have a need for another family. Like, let's say, one family has a baby, we send our monthly share directly to the family with like a note that says, we're praying for you, or congratulations. So it's basically families supporting families instead of through a big corporate insurance company. So let's say for the kids, when they were born, I actually had all of their healthcare needs, all the birth, everything was already prepaid for through the Christian health share, and I would just, pay my midwives or whatever. So it's worked out good. We're really healthy. We eat healthy. We drink lots of water.
Yeah, none of us have anything that's like, diabetes or blood issues or things that require us to go to the doctor or take meds or anything like that. We've been very blessed with good health. But I think one of the nice things about the health share program is, if we have a need, we do have to pay like a certain deductible, I think like up to $1,000, the first $1,000 of any like coverage. But for all the major stuff, it's basically like guaranteed that it's going to be taken care of no matter what. So if there was ever an emergency where I had to be rushed to the hospital, or there was an issue like that, like we just...
leg in Goodwill, I mean...
yeah, anything. So... a lot of questions, multiple people ask the same questions, like what were your thoughts when I started the business, were you nervous that we weren't going to make enough money? We kind of answered those already. This weird guy on Instagram, his name is Joey Badabing22. He said he wants to know, do you want a new house near Joey Badabing22?
Well, Joey Badabing22, because you live so far from Disney, I'm going to have to say no. So
sorry, buddy.
You have to move closer to us. We can rent out like another second shed if you want to buy one, and put some AC in there, and that's about it. But no, you live too far away.
So we'll ask one more question and then we'll end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful for you and maybe your reselling business or your family and your marriage. If you guys have more questions, please leave them in the comment section down below, and we can do a part 2 if there's any other questions you want. My Web Promos wants to know, which you've kind of already answered, but we'll just ask it. Do you support Drew in his reselling business, or do you prefer he did something else instead?
No, I support him 100%. So I don't know what else he would want to do. I mean, if he decided tomorrow that he doesn't want to be a reseller anymore, then I support him, and you want to become a rabbi, or I don't know.
I think all of that comes down to just like the relationship that we have. Danny and I, when we were dating, like I told her, I said, listen, if you want to be with me for the rest of your life, you have to know that I'm not your typical, average guy out there. I think differently. I operate differently. My brain functions differently. I can't sit still for long periods of time. Like I always have to be doing something. I always have to be listing or shipping or cleaning shoes. Like even if we're just spending family time, like sitting together on the couch, like I'll have to be sending out offers to watchers, or get some shoes out here and scrub them, or just something. It's just the way that my brain is. And so she knew going into our marriage that like there were some expectations that that was just going to be part of our life. And I'm glad and thankful that she understands that, because I couldn't be with somebody who either didn't believe in me or was never supportive of what I was doing, or was always nagging me for bringing in Goodwill bags, or just all those types of things that people do struggle with when they start doing like a reselling as like a side hustle, and then they want to turn it into full-time income. Is like, you have to understand that this is kind of the territory that comes with reselling. You're going to have a room full of stuff. You're going to have boxes. I bring home boxes from dumpsters, from,
Supplies.
free shipping supplies. I have a friend from church who brings me packing paper and boxes all the time, and she'll just drop them off at the front door, and like she said, sometimes she finds magic erasers in the living room or something. How they get there, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even remember that I was cleaning shoes in the living room, but I think that that's just kind of like an unspoken expectation that people don't talk about a lot in reselling, is like those are things that you're going to have to like not live with or deal with, but understand that it comes with, having a reselling business. And I'm just glad that you're supportive of me, and you don't hate me for it, or it doesn't tear apart our marriage at all. I'm making more than enough money to provide for our family and pay our bills. We don't struggle. We're not barely getting by. We have money in our savings account. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. Go make lots of money.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Again, if you want to see part 2, leave some comments down below, and we will bring it back and answer more questions. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We love you. Peace, money!
Asher, you're the big brother. I will pay you $1 if you watch your brother in your room for 10 more minutes.